Welcome back, everybody. How y'all doing today? Let me get a microphone check. Y'all know how we do it. Let me get a one if my audio is good. Good to see y'all today. We about to get it in. We about to get it in. Y'all already know. I'm already rolled up, getting my mind right, getting relaxed so I can stay calm and teach this good stuff, and we can, get a lot of information out in this stream today. I see them ones in the building. Hey, shout out to my family in the house, Teardrop Hall. Um, no doubt, no doubt, Teardrop. I'm reading your message now. I appreciate all you do to support me and the fam. Teardrop for real. I love you and your fam. Tell everybody. Bro Sanchez said, "What's good?" My brother, back to your roots, herbs. Shout out to you, my brother. I want to I'm gonna do a stream where I'm going to just a love stream for all the supporters, man. People contribute to the show. Good to see y'all though. It's good to see y'all, man. I ain't gonna keep you waiting too long. Today we're gonna be talking more on Amma's egg, the knowledge of the Dogon. More on the cosmic mother. Appreciate that love. Mine's I always supporting your brother. Said never take life too seriously. You'll never make it out alive. Ain't that a fact? Fact power to that one. Shout out to my brother Omar Little. Much love, Omar. Appreciate the donation, my brother. I appreciate that, guys. We're gonna get right on into this. What up, Gary? I see you, Peabody. What up? Everything's love, my sister. What up, Faux Life? What's good, Deezy? How y'all doing today, man? Did you sleep good last night, or did you wake up with your neck hurting and shit like I did? Oh man, what one world, one hood? What up, Billionaire Big Club? My sister, what's up? Ryan Toombs, I see you. I got my brother in the house, Aboriginal TV in the house. I see my dude, Sir Drop in the building. All right, man, y'all got me crunk. We about to go ahead get into this thing. Also, before I get into this, let me make a quick announcement, quick commercial. We will be live tonight, which is Friday night, on Flat Power TV. We will be having an open panel, and we will be debunking the behind the curve as a team. And we will be addressing the videos that the globalists have been putting out using that hit film. We know it was a hit shot, or whatever you call it, a hit piece. It was a hit piece. And these globalists want to use that to their advantage. We're going to be, getting the brothers. We're going to open up the panel. We're going to be debunking, this behind the curve, nonsense. That'll be tonight on Flat Power TV. But let me go ahead and get into this. All right, people, go on, hit the like button too. Let's talk a little bit about the goddess Amma, and we're going to be talking about Amma's egg as well. And this will be like a continuation of what we was doing the previous this recent Monday morning when we did the mystery school. This will be a continuation to that. So although commonly referred to as a male, most of the goddesses are calling by their patriarchal transformation today. That's why all of these gods today look feminine. They're transformations of the great mother goddess. We live in a patriarchal time. I don't have to beat that horse though. Y'all already know that. So as you look at this collage that I made, you can look at the goddess Amma, and you can see she's the Dogon's version of Neith, and we're going to be talking about Neith as well. These are primordial goddesses, meaning they represent the seed of creation before. Think about it this way. They don't represent the actual tree that has the fruit on it. They represent what the tree was before it grew into the tree, and that was the seed. So that when we say primordial, the primitive aspect of our origins. In today's cosmology, that seed would be the Big Bang. But we know the science behind that is senseless. But we're going to go back to the ancients for some validity, like we always do. So as you look at this collage, you see the goddess Amma. You see that the Kananga is just a symbol of Amma. And you can sync this goddess to DNA, the hourglass, the number 8 for infinity. You know all of that stuff. So as you look at that, I'll just be reading to you some things you need to know about the goddess Amma. Amma is considered to symbolize both male and female principles, and as a result is more properly characterized as genderless or as being of dual gender. This dual aspect of Amma's character is consistent with the broader cosmological principles of duality and the pairing of opposites that are expressed symbolically in all facets of Dogon religion and culture. It is also consistent with the male and female aspects of biological reproduction that Amma symbolizes. Very important stuff. What we just read in that passage is micro and macro. It gives you the cosmological principle. And then as we finish the paragraph, it synced it into the male and female aspects of biological reproduction. This ain't nothing new to those who follow me, so I'm just going to keep reading. By the way, before I keep reading, what I can do for you is show you another collage that would show you that male and female duat in a sacred geometrical form. There you go. So another way you can look at what we just read and tie it all together, the feminine with the masculine, and you want to talk about micro and macro, feminine, masculine, sun and moon, boys and girls. Now, something we always miss, right? Because now we about to get real deep. And if you're not thinking, this gonna miss you. Listen to me. The duat is yin and yang, boys and girl. You see, sun and moon. It seems simple, but what you forget, what you always don't acknowledge is what's in between a duat, and that's the and symbol. People, I want y'all to listen to me today. Look at the and symbol, and you will see that and is the number 8 for infinity. And is the pregnant goddess. You know why? Because the boy and the girl come out of Anne. Anne is Annie, A-N-N-E. Also the root word of antenna, because boy and girl is connected to the mother by the antenna, which is the umbilical cord. All right? And it's the connector, and you don't even pay no attention to it. Today we gotta change that. We gotta change that. And represent the crossroads. So if you look at the hands, y'all don't hear me now. We talking about this and. The H is silent. You have a hand. Why is it an and? Because with the hand, you give and receive, and that's what that symbol represents, the number 8. And you do this with your hands. You give and receive, and the symbol for hand or and is this number 8. Left hand boy, right hand girl. You got a giving hand and a receiving hand, and it's bad luck to a lot of cultures will tell you it's bad luck to receive something in your giving hand and to give something in your receiving hand. Did you know that? So when a lot of shamans meditate, they palm stones in their receiving hand, and they do in the hand that they say that is the non-receiving hand, they ground it and stuff like that, do little stuff like that. The energy is making a number 8 though. Now, if you look at the Boys and Girls Club logo, it's telling you the same thing of that number 8. If you count the fingers, you'll see only 8 are visible. The thumbs are hidden. And those 2 thumbs, right, are hidden. And this symbol make a stop sign or a cube when you look at it. So Boys and Girls Club, you could compare this to the Earth, cosmos, and see, and you can't speak without using and. Don't you know and shit like is are the most used words, and we don't even pay them no attention because these are the hidden ones. They connect our language invisibly. So and is feminine. So we're gonna be talking about that in relation to Amma, which is Amma. And we'll also see the reason we shake hands for contract is because that's macrocosmic science. You can look at the sun and moon as an infinite handshake, an agreement to perpetuate life on this earth that you're living on. And if they stop shaking hands, this whole reality will split. It's an agreement. That's what this duat is all about. So we're going to read some more about Amma. So when I told you the word and is the silent connector, the symbol that we call and is DNA. Is DNA. And DNA is the great connector. It's invisible, it's silent, but it connects all things, just like the word and. So and represents neath, that combining aspect, the invisible combiner. And this is string theory. Why? Because the word and strings together sentences. It strings together fragments and other things. We're going to read some more about Amma, all right? The Dogon religion is characterized as an esoteric tradition, one that involves both public and private aspects. Although Amma could be said to embody great creative potential, she is in fact considered by the knowledgeable Dogon priest to be small, so small as to be effectively hidden from view. See what I was telling you about the word and? You barely notice it, but it's very important though in your speaking. See, although this detail of Amma's character is generally not spoken of in public among the Dogon, all the stuff that I'm teaching y'all right now, and the symbols and all this stuff, people who don't know it, who don't have their third eye open like us, they would look into this conversation and say, these are a bunch of nutcases. And they would be right, because the word nut is the word neath, and this weaving together of it is what builds the case or the box. Everything we say is true and false, because we're not no damn nutcases. We're not crazy. But when you break the word etymology down, they're telling the truth. We're the modern day lunatics, would have been the people who had the knowledge of the moon. But back in the old days, we would have been praised. Since the pendulum have changed and the patriarchs have taken over, the stuff that I'm teaching today will get you called a nutcase, when really the words we're using would be compliment to the old world. If I called you a nutcase, and if you really want to break that down to what it means, that's like calling you a genius. The same thing as a lunatic. But today, a lot of these terms and symbols and knowledge that I'm giving you have been cursed, so it's looked at as you just stupid. So give me 1 minute and we're gonna go in on some more on the Dogon great mother Amma. So we need to understand what I'm reading to you here now. Amma was so small that she can't be perceived with the naked eye, but yet it's the great connector and so important. And this aspect of Dogon science, they don't even speak about. The stuff that I'm telling you now, syncretism with etymology, sacred, they don't speak about this stuff to the public. Because when you start talking like this, people say, yeah, he's really damn stupid. Did you hear that fool talking about some and infinity? Oh yeah, them folks crazy. And that looked like some Satanism on the screen. Look at that crap. See, people corrupted today. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. And that's why the Dogon don't even speak on this stuff today. All right? Yeah, the people who really understand the depths of how deep this shit go, they don't talk about it. Like, look at them Buddhist monks. When you go to Tibet, them people living up in the mountain, isolated, practicing a spiritual system, and they don't talk about this shit to the rest of the world. They a lot of people who got the knowledge that I'm giving you, they done went off grid to just live in peace with nature and reconnect before they die with that North Pole energy, that Agarthian energy. So, you know, I truly believe, that that's the reason they don't speak on it in this time, because the pendulum have changed. There's times when this knowledge is coming and everybody know it, and there are times when it goes into a cult, and that's what we are now. They call this the dark age, when the knowledge of your true origins is a mystery. In fact, man is using it against you, and no one really knows the truth. Yeah, we never exited the dark age. We're still in it. We're exiting the dark age as I speak with the emergence of this type of knowledge. Now, like I said, we're going to talk some more about Amma, and we're going to do that right now. We're going to do that right now. So perhaps the first important creation of the Dogon god Amma was the unformed universe. All right, you need to keep that in mind. All right, the first important creation of the Dogon god Amma was the unformed universe. You got to think about that. That's the shell of the universe. That's the seed of the seed is an unformed tree. The seed is an unformed tree. This is what we're talking about here. The planter is getting ready to plant the seed, but the tree of life hasn't grown yet. What we call the North Pole is what's creating our reality. And as the North Pole tree grows, you can say the sky rises like a tent being pitched. Once you stand that pole up in the middle, you create a sky. So standing up the pole in the middle of the tent in cosmology can be seen as the great mother planting the tree of life, and that trunk is the pole, the North Pole, and the branches, when it get to the top that spread out, it's the tent making a roof over our head. The sky is a tree house. We're in the house. And when you're looking out at the stars, it's like a bird inside of a tree, a huge tree. And it can look out at nothing but green leaves all around it. It's like a green sky inside of that tree. But it see little sparks of light. And that's what we see as stars. We're the same thing. So we're going to talk about the way the Dogon saw the cosmos. And let's read some more, a little bit about Amma. I don't want to get too far off this. So we're talking about the seed. Remember that the root word of seed is seed. Seed. The seed and the sea would be equivalent to the rock and the river. We're trying to make a ripple effect, because that ripple effect is what we call life. And that's what we're reading here. But first, we got to start at the unformed universe. That's the rock. That's the rock. Think about a house, right? You start that house with a ragged, jagged old rock, and it's unformed. And then you start taking them rocks and forming them into bricks, and you take them bricks and you form it into a house. Now it has structure. But it started as unformed, you know. So you gotta look at creation this way. And another way you can look at this is, if you're thinking about a painter painting a picture, a blank canvas would be the unformed art. The art exists, it just haven't been painted onto the board yet, but it's there. It's in the artist's mind. And he's going to copy it out of his brain onto the canvas. What you see on the canvas is late though. Like, that's just a copy. It was the original copy was in his head when the canvas was blank. So that represents the unformed version, or the seed. All right. Without that, you can't have the version that we all see that comes into physicality. Everything you see around you started off as an unformed version of itself. It existed in the ethereal plane. Even the seat you're sitting in, the phone or the device that you're using, it existed in a space that you weren't able to touch it before it existed. You know, the iPhone existed in the mind of Steve Jobs before you was ever able to touch one. You know what I'm saying? The seed, the idea, all right? And once it was copied out of his mind and invisible, the ethereal plane, and birthed into the physical plane, it changed our world. Now everybody got iPhones. If you try to explain some of this stuff to a person in its unformed version, they would probably call you a nutcase. Because when you're speaking from the unformed reality, you're dealing with the ethereal. Once it comes into light, we can define it, we can perceive it. But until then, only the artist can. And that's what we're talking about here. So the conception is the seed. All right. Your true birthday is the date that you was conceived, not necessarily when you came out of the womb. A lot of people will debate that. Now, let's read some more about Amma, because we saying Amma was the unformed universe, and you need to know what that is. If you want to relate that to modern day cosmology, this is what the Big Bang was before the Big Bang. It was just a dark sea, right? All right, so that's represented as the seed or the sea. The seed is the sea. Now, you talking about space and counter space. That's what we're talking about. The ground, the seed. You know what I mean? The rock, the water. And once they combine, they make the ripples, which is the vibration of life. That's what all these symbols represent. The duat combining to create a gateway of life. All right, just study the symbols and I'm going to read some more. So this Amma was the unformed universe, a body that is said to have held all of the potential seeds or signs of future existence. The Dogon refer to this body as Amma's egg and characterize it as a conical. You know what? Before I go too deep, let's do that. Here is Amma's egg right here. This is just a little quick drawing of it. Shout out to whoever did this. This is Amma's egg that we're looking at. This oval little yoni shaped slit. Now Amma's egg is why we have Easter time. People, they're not telling you the truth. Okay. Bunnies don't lay eggs. Bunnies don't lay eggs, people. Bunnies give birth to live young, just like my puppies do. Bunnies are not lizards. Bunnies are not snakes. Bunnies don't lay eggs. Why the hell do you get Easter egg bunnies? People, the egg and the bunny, we're talking about a goddess. This goddess can be seen as the bunny in some of her depictions. But the name Easter is one of the names of the goddess because they call her Ishtar. Ishtar became Ishtar. And Ishtar is a corrupted form of the mother goddess. But you can see Ishtar being a male deity today. And in that culture, Ishtar is synced with eggs. Now, people, last time I checked, the female species, the one got the eggs inside of her. People, you got to listen to what I'm telling you now. I'm trying to stay calm. You got a male god named Ishtar, and his key feature is his eggs. Think about it, people. The male don't got no eggs. We got the sperm. The woman got the egg. Why is that shit so backwards? He replaced the great mother. All of us are sperm cells inside of a huge egg called Earth, and you have not been born yet. This is a huge incubator, and this body is waiting to rebirth your soul on a higher plane. Your soul entered this earth from one plane of existence. This world is a crossroads. As the soul seeks to go to higher planes of bliss, it has to go through physical crossroads. You entered this earth to get to a higher, for your soul to get to a higher plane of existence. This is the lily pad theory. The human body and the earth plane is a huge lily pad. We landed on a lily pad. We're jumping lily pads, so to speak. So we can go deep into that lily pad theory, but what you need to realize when I say lily pad is there's a reason we call it lily pad, because it's Lilith pad. It's the pad of Lilith. And another name for Lilith is Gaia, the priestess, people. This is the priestess. See, what you got to realize is that she sits upon that crest like a frog on a lily pad. And they call it a lily pad because when a frog sits on a lily pad, the frog in sacred geometry looks just like Lilith on her pad or on her moon crest. Okay? Hey, listen, man. When I signed up to teach sacred geometry, I had to be the best at what I do. Excuse my ego. You know. So there go your lily pad and it's Lilith pad, which is the ground we walking on, y'all. This is the pad of the goddess. Remember that Geb was Gaia. Geb used to be Gaia. So she show you that when you look at this, you also looking at how life is indeed enclosed within an egg and not walking on the surface of it like the globalists want to believe. Because, you know, she assumed the position of life. That's where we are. Now, this ain't no convex earth theory, right? We're inside of a sphere just like the goddess, but it's filled halfway with water. So we got a flat horizon. It's 50-50. Now we'll get back to Lilith in a minute, because what you see is another version of Eve. Now, the Christians that corrupted this story of Lilith that I'm giving you in the Lilith pad theory, which is really the string theory, connect the dots theory, all right, that's all it is. Look at the movie Jet Li 1. They'll show you this same theory. Now, listen to me. Christians corrupted this science by turning it into a bitten apple. Y'all don't hear me though. You even got a computer company called Apple because they built their computers with the science of the goddess. These bastards ain't invented nothing. They wouldn't be able to make no computer if they didn't study the binary code. And how you study the binary code? By studying the goddesses. A computer programmer can't tell me I'm lying. It's zeros and ones, which is eggs and sperms. It's one code, folks. Now check this out. The 0 and 1 is in front of you because she's number 1, 1, 1, huh? She's number 1, 1, 1, huh? And she sits inside of the 0. She represents the binary code. See, the mother sits in the place of the hyperboloid. If you study a magnetic energy field, this Lilith symbol, she's really personifying a hyperboloid. That's where she's sitting. She's showing you an opening in this egg. And that's what we're going to talk about, because Amma's egg had a crack in the middle. And they say if you step on that crack, you're going to break your mama's back. Now, we talked about how these crazy superstitions got some truth to them. Nut is bent over, and there's a crack in Nut's back called a vault of heaven. When you look at Egyptian cosmology, the dome, Nut, represents the crack in Nut's back would be Lilith. You see how this light is coming out of her? She's an opening in the ether. And it's what splits our earth in the center like a donut. She's the hole in the middle of the donut. And that's what this symbol represents. And it represents so much. And you can see in this image on the left, the god is holding up that crest. And who else you see doing that? The Egyptian god Shu. And where is Shu located in the Egyptian cosmos? In the middle, where Lilith sits on her pad. Shu is the hyperboloid, because Shu is another form of Lilith. So that crest she holding up is literally an opening in the ether. It's an opening. Think about an open mouth. Open up your mouth. And it looks like that crest in her hand. That's what we're talking about. This is the whale's. Oh, remember Jonah was in the mouth of the whale? That's she's holding up that opening. All right. So now that we can get the symbol synced, we can go here and we can see that opening that she holding up, and we can see how that opening is at the top of her egg. All right. This little football shape is an egg, and there's some energy pouring out of the top that looks like a fish tail. And that's some energy pouring out of the bottom that look like a fish tail. So this egg has a crack in it. This egg got a crack in it. And this was the story of Humpty Dumpty. They turned this to Humpty Dumpty. Sat on the wall, had a great fall, shattered, then got back together. Sounds like the story of Osar, right? The body man chopped up, the same thing. All right. The shattering dealing with the fractal code of the cosmos, the holographic principle of creation. Okay. So when you look at this, you see Amma's egg is indeed has cracks in the top and bottom. Now in Egyptian cosmology, this crack would be in your mama's back. Now Nut represent the great mama, but her back has an opening because even though they personified the firmament as a woman bending over, they still got to let that energy out of her back. So her back is cracked. And we say some in the South, we say if you step on that crack, you break your mama back. So it's some ancient cosmic secrets to why we say even the shit we say. All right. So I had to pull this image up so we can tie that in to that. But now check it out. We got to keep on. We got some more. Let me see here. Try to stay organized today. Pull that back up for you. So you see what you're looking at now. When you look at the Egyptian Neef symbol, you see that egg in the middle and the little coils that's on each side of that egg. It ain't nothing but the energy coming out. All right? I'm going to do this for you. Hold on. Hold up. Wait. All them niggas who be thinking we soft, we don't. There we go. See, we just talked about this right here. Now look, compare this to the Egyptian Neef symbol. Simple stuff. If you've been following me, you know this simple stuff, man. All right, I just want you to lock this in your head. So this is the same symbol, whether it's in the form of Amma with the arms raised, the DNA strand, the Dogon Kananga, string theory, okay? The opening at the top of that string theory represent the vault of heaven. The opening at the bottom represents Sheol, the vault of the underworld. Don't be so biased. If heaven got an opening, hell got an opening. Shit. If you got a chimney on your house, you need some sewage on your house, right? 2 ways to let matter escape that house. Out of the chimney based upon if it's lighter matter, like smoke, that'll go out the chimney. Denser shit go out the sewer. The earth made the same way, folks. It's a great lion's den, and the root word of density is den. All right? You create this den with the laws of density. You know, everything is stacked appropriately with the heaviest things found in the bottom and the lightest things coming up to the top. Now, they got a sport overseas, I think it's in India, where they build human towers out of humans. And you can pull it up on Netflix, on YouTube, pull up human towers. It's an ancient tradition. They've been doing it, and it's a very dangerous sport. They break ribs and everything. They build human towers, people that goes up to damn near 15, 20 feet. And they able to get that high by making the little kids be at the very top. So when these towers fall, the little kids get hurt the most. But it's their tradition though. And a lot of people say that we should, you know, try to stop it. But you know, these people been doing that for so long, they ain't finna let no outsiders come stop their tradition. But it's dangerous. They get hurt, but it's their tradition. Who is us? We can't stop it. We play football. But if you look at it, it's very interesting though. You know, how they making these huge human towers by keeping the heavier shit at the bottom and the lighter humans go up at the top, all the way up to the teenagers in the middle, to the little bitty babies on the very, very top. And when you look at these things, man, it's just awesome, yo, when they complete it successfully. And see, they wouldn't be able to build that putting the heavy shit on top. So it's simple stuff. All the elements on the periodic table are organized by Mother Nature, with the heaviest ones in the bowels of the earth, stacking all the way up to above your head is layers of the sky, which are lighter forms of the elements, stacked up in their respective layers. But what we got to realize is in between this stacking, there's a paradox, and we live in it. Where we live on a cosmic periodic table is a place where every element in existence occupy the same space. Excuse me. If you can look at the bottom half of this football as the heavy elements on a periodic table, and the top half of this football as the lighter elements on a periodic table, then the earth right in the middle, that little earth disk that's right in the middle of both of those halves, is a place where the heavy elements and the light elements occupy one space. This is a place of neutrality. See, right here where we live on earth, you can access the heaviest elements and the lightest elements from this one spot. But if I put you all the way up under the ground, you won't be able to access all the elements from down there. There's only so many elements down there in the bottom part of the earth. If you live high up in the sky, well, water wouldn't exist up there, fire wouldn't exist up there. You exist in a part of the earth where certain gases are layered. You see what I'm saying? Where we exist is where all of the layers come to cleanse themselves. Therefore, every element in creation can be found in this middle little part of the stack. Another way you can look at that is if we're going from cold to hot, Earth represents the warm spot. It has hot and cold in this area. This is a paradox area, a Goldilocks area. And it's truly a miracle because only here is it where all of the elements can occupy the same space. This is a threshold where everything kind of balance out. Before you go from heavy to light, you go in between them both, and that would be where we are. And we can see it's so diverse in this realm because we're right in the middle of the periodic table. We're a little pouch of life. And below us is all of the heavy aspects of creation, and above us, all of the lightest. But where we are is neither heaviest or lightest. It's a world where they collide, and you see the elements in motion, journeying to the edges and center of this magnetic energy field. Because where we are is basically where crossroads take place. So all of the elements we see here existing in unison. When you leave here, they only exist in their respective layers. It's only here where you can look at this part of the earth as a blender. Our pocket of existence is a blender. All of the elements pass through here and get blended up together. And because of that blending, you have something called humans, animals, life. You see what I'm saying? This area allows for human life because the elements can now merge and create new shit called humans, animals. But outside of this realm, there is no human life. There's only pure essence of the human. In other words, when the human leave here, you separate just like the elements. You leave the blender. Therefore, your different things that make up you go back to their respective places until they combine again in this crossroads. All right? It's very simple. You only solidify here because this is the blender. This is what blends all the infinite aspects of the self together into what's called a body. So this area is a blender where all the blenders take place. Captain Planet manifests here. Why? Because the elements come together. Planeteers represent the separate aspect of the cosmos. The planeteers represent the elements in a separate state. But in order to manifest Captain Planet, they all got to bring them rings together. Earth, water, wind, fire. And now the human is born. The planeteers are not the human. Captain Planet is. Captain Planet is the Ka and the Ptah in the netted plane. and you're looking at the netted plane. The plane is this circle in the middle of the football, surrounded by the two nets. And you're the damn captain of your own macabre inside of this netted plane. You are Captain Planet, a result of all the elements uniting at this dielectric inertial plane. So when you talk about Amma, Amma represent the aspect of the creation before the elements started making love. In other words, there was a bonding point at the center of this egg that attracted all the elements from every corner of the ethereal plane to this one spot. And when it happened, it was a marriage of water and fire, a marriage of all the different aspects of what we would call Amma existing in a subconscious state, now coming to a conscious state because there was a connection point. In other words, what am I saying? Everything outside of this little football is nothing but potential. It's not that fire don't exist out there and water don't exist out there. It exists out there as simply an idea. But an idea is very real. An idea is a foundation of what you're calling fire in this physical realm. In other words, there would be no fire on earth if the idea of fire didn't exist in the ethereal plane. That's the root, that's the seed. Every element can be traced to the seed, which is the idea would exist on an ethereal plane. See, listen, I'm going to give you another way to look at it. You can get rid of every picture of the Mona Lisa. You can burn up every Mona Lisa copy. You can completely delete the image of the Mona Lisa from the earth. But it's going to keep on popping back into existence because the idea is eternal. Now that the Mona Lisa has been conceived, it don't matter how many Mona Lisa pictures you burn up, somebody gonna keep painting it into existence because the seed, the idea, can't die. All right? So we're gonna read some more about Amma because the first important creation of Amma was the unformed universe, which is the idea, people. Listen to me. The man who invented the car, right, Mr. Ford, when he was trying to explain the car to people, I'm sure he sounded like a dummy. You know, I'm trying to create this thing that, you know, you can sit in and it can take you places and you can press gas. People like, what the hell is gas, man? Because the gas pedal wasn't invented yet. And he trying to explain to these people an unformed creation. The creation of the car only existed as an idea. And when you try to explain it from the idea form, it's the lunatic form. When we do sacred geometry and syncretism, we're explaining the foundation of the earth, which is the very idea that exists in the ethereal plane. And when you explain that idea from this physical aspect of it, it make you look stupid. You know, it's the difference between you walking inside of a house being interested with the interior design and not the fucking foundation and the wood behind the walls. If someone started talking to you about that, you'll say, is this person crazy? Could you take me on a good tour through the house and explain to me the fabric that this sofa made out of and who painted this art on the wall? You know, what if the person took you in there and started telling you about shit that they should be talking to the building planners about? You'll be like, yo, I really don't know what the fuck you talking about. Irrigation and, you know, all of these big words you using. See what I'm saying? Because they discussing the idea of the house, the foundations, the walls, that which holding it together that you don't see, the skeleton, right? Now, so keep that in mind, right? Everything exists as an idea before it exists as any physical form. You can't be holding a physical form if you didn't hold a form of an idea at first. So what we're calling the spirit or the soul is simply you as an idea. And that idea has the potential to manifest on a physical plane, but until it manifests on a physical plane, it still exists as an idea. No one dies. We either exist as a manifestation or an idea that need to be manifested. There is no in between. It's either or. Either you're a seed or a tree. Either you're a chicken or egg. That's what we're telling you here. And when we talk about Amma, we're talking about the universe as an egg. Not quite a chicken yet, right? So Amma was the unformed universe. Now, with everything I've told you in mind, allow me to take a 2 to 3 minute break and we're going to go in some more on the unformed universe. All right? Enjoy the music. I'll be right back. All right, folks, let's get it in. Let's start back. Let's start back. All right. So check this out, right? So one more time. Perhaps the first important creation of the Dogon god Amma or goddess Amma, was the unformed universe, a body that is said to have held all of the potential seeds or signs of future existence. You existed during this time, my brothers and sisters. When people say man have always existed, you have always existed, it's because even before the universe was formed, the idea of everybody right now existed. Every human existed as an idea. In other words, nothing is a random act. What we're living right now is the past of the Most High. It's our present, but it's the Most High's past tense. And the reason for that is because we're experiencing the creation or the idea from a manifested perspective. And the creator only experienced the creation as a seed, because in the place of the creator does not occupy. The creator only exists in the creation as the creation. I'm going to say that again. The creator only exists in the creation as the creation, as each and every last one of us, by fragmenting itself. Outside of the creation, everything only exists as a pure idea. And what is the symbol of an idea? A light bulb. All right, let's deal with some sacred geometry. Let's talk about why the symbol of an idea is a light bulb. Because the symbol of an idea is a light bulb, right? Now, that light bulb can be seen as an egg. And a manifestation of that idea can be seen as that egg hatching and cracking and a chicken walking out. And the reason for that is because everything that is occupying physical space is a rip in the ether or a crack in Amma's egg. Did you hear me? Before computers existed, if you take every computer on the earth and put it in one area, you will see how much mass computers are taking up on earth. If every computer that was ever invented was put in one space, it'll be bigger than Mount Everest. It'll be the size of a damn couple of states, y'all. But think about it. What is a computer? It's an idea that a man created. So let me explain to you what I'm telling you about. What we call physical computers existed as an idea before they occupied physical space. That means the computer existed as an egg that wasn't yet hatched. Now listen, once the man who invented the computer manifested it and made it physical tangibly, and we can go buy it now, you can look at that as that egg cracking open and a bunch of damn chickens running out. And now all of them chickens that ran out of that egg was these computers in your house. All of these computers that's occupying space on everybody's desk came out of the brain of a man. So when you look at this picture on the screen with the egg breaking open, this is the left and right brain, and the yolk is the idea, the pineal, the pinnacle point, where they climax and manifest something into existence. And that manifestation is a rip in the ether, people. There was nothing to occupy all of that space if that man wouldn't have had that idea and gave birth to this thing called computers. Now that space is being occupied by all of these computers. And like I said, if you take every computer on earth and put it in one spot, it's going to be about the size of some states. And it wouldn't have existed if some dude didn't have an idea. So look how big an idea is, and they still making computers. So once you crack that egg, it's an infinite break now. Look at it this way. Let me show y'all so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because once you crack that egg, you can't undo it, buddy. Now, the human brain is an egg, and it's able to hatch ideas out of it. And these ideas that come from the ethereal plane that exist as invisible ideas become a threat when they become manifested. For example, the gun. Now you say, Brother Sanchez, the physical gun is a threat. The physical gun ain't a threat. The idea of a gun is the threat. Because you can formulate any form of projection with the idea of transferring matter through the ether to physically hit another human with enough force to go through them and kill them. It don't have to be a gun. Hell, the ancestors made bow and arrows. So the bow and arrow became the gun. So it ain't the gun that's a threat. It's the idea, right? Which create the many hideous forms of itself as a gun, a knife, or anything that can prick and end the life. So understand what I'm telling you here. It's what we can't see that is a threat. And that is governed in religion, in the spiritual side of reality. Because the elites know that the physical world is created by this realm where ideas live. And that is the ethereal realm. And it's constantly giving birth to physical creation. So each half of the broken egg is each half of the brain. And the yolk in the middle being the pineal point, the pinnacle point is where the idea manifests itself into not the ethereal realm, the physical realm, from the ethereal realm. So the pineal gland acts as a gateway to bring ethereal ideas. See, this is what you got to realize. Every physical manifestation exists as an ethereal idea. These two worlds are separated but also connected. Okay? What do I mean? That the pineal gland connects the ethereal world with the physical world, and that allows man to be an instrument of manifestation. Okay? Because we're a crossroads species. We got 1 foot in the ethereal realm and 1 foot in the physical realm. So man is a freak of nature, literally. And that's why we're able to mimic the creator. All right, because we are fragments of that original paradox. So what I'm telling you is this. When a man have an idea of, let's just say, we was using the gun, let's stay with that. Okay, before projectile was an idea, before it was conceived in the brain, it wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a threat because it wasn't even an idea in the brains of humans. But the moment projectile and sharpening the tip of something so that it can penetrate another human's flesh became an idea, then the idea can no longer cease to exist, and the idea will recreate itself over and over again different ways. So we went from bow and arrows to guns to torpedoes to bombs. And the idea just gonna keep remanifesting itself in different hideous ways. Because once you create an idea, it can't cease to exist. Now, how you escape an idea is to escape the plane of existence that idea was manifested upon. There are infinite versions of this same reality, And not all the ideas that exist within this egg exist in other versions of this reality. Woo, that's kind of deep. Y'all might want to think about that. Again, look at that movie, Jet Leader 1. And this will tie into Mandela effect, people. It's different versions of this same simulation. And sometimes they bleed into each other. So Berenstain becomes Berenstain. Dates become slightly off. And we say, hey, didn't we use it, pronounced it this way? Well, we pronounce it both ways. We pronounce it that way in a different reality. And when these realities bleed into each other, we call it Mandela effect. Do y'all hear me? This is deep stuff, man. So this concept of Amma is very deep, y'all. This is deep stuff, you see? This became string theory, right? This show you how manifestation take place, and electromagnetism show you how manifestation take place. When you see that egg broken open with the light coming out of it, what are we showing you here? Let me show you. There you go. Look at Lilith, right? Now look at Lilith with the light coming out of her. And what is she sitting inside of? A broken egg. The top, she's sitting inside of a drop top. The top is literally dropped on the egg, bro. That's the opening of a hyperboloid. You see, ain't no top on it. You see what I'm saying? So she's sitting in a broken egg with light coming out of her. And then we looking at this image. People, these artists that paint this shit, a lot of them know about the shit that we teach, and a lot of the people that's dealing with the arts, they got to deal with sacred geometry. So they learn a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching you anyway. And Masterpiece can vouch for that. So when Jesus broke the bread at the Last Supper, this was the Christians stealing again. Because the broken bread is really the broken egg. The broken bread, Last Supper, it's the broken egg, people. They always stealing now. And remember what I'm telling you, the different halves of the egg represent the different halves of the brain. But the brain is connected to the ethereal realm because it's the crown chakra. The brain is the physical crown chakra. Just like the heart is the physical heart chakra. Every physical organ got a spiritual connection. So the brain is a gateway organ because the organ that we call the physical brain has invisible ideas in it. Therefore, this brain is connected to the ethereal plane. The brain is a gateway. All right? Things come in and out of the brain and manifest themselves in and out of this reality through the brain. It's the brain that allows man to manifest things. So without the brain, man would exist in a zombie-like state where he would only be able to enjoy manifestation, but he would not be able to create. And that's what they want to do now. They want to take away the brain and turn you to a zombie. The very reason you were created was to transcend spiritual matter into physical matter. That's why the root word of manifestation is man. And the festering happens in the brain. Manifest. A festival takes place in the brain. A feast. A Passover of information. This is the Last Supper. Because once that idea is weighed with the left and right brain, the final decision takes place as the yoke. And you can't undo that once you make that action. It splits in the ether and it records itself for eternity. You can't do nothing but say you're sorry, but you can't undo it. You can't rewind it because you cracked the egg open. See how deep this is? And when you crack that egg, you can't put it back together again, silly. So that's why they told this story in the form of an egg. Very beautiful stuff that the ancients done. Now, let's read some more here, because hold on. See, you got a cracked egg right here. You know, and what I want to show you is as above, so below. Okay, you can compare this cracked egg to the human brain. Now, the human brain, check this out, what's so deep about it. That crack that's going directly down your brain, splitting the left and right brain from each other, became a Bible story. Let me show you something. This artwork represents the great split in the middle of your brain. If you look up in the sky at night, you can find this great split in the sky because the sky is divided. Half of it sun, half of it moon. And it's just the cosmic left and right brain. The branches of the tree. Now listen, all the different cracks on either side of your brain was born from this original crack. Y'all need to listen to me now. I'm about to go deep now. I'm about to go deep, y'all. All the different cracks in your brain was born from this middle crack. And when you read the story of Amma, you'll see what I'm talking about. All the different cracks in this egg was born from one central crack, right? If you make a big crack in the cement, it's gonna be other little cracks formed from that crack. Just like if you look at the Mississippi River, it's one big cracking through the continent, but it's all kind of little bitty rivers bleeding off of the Mississippi River. The same way your veins are made. But each of these smaller cracks is made by one giant crack. Right? And that's what we're going to talk about now. So check this out, right? Think about what I'm telling you here. And I'm going to read some more science for y'all. So the Dogon refer, and listen, before we even get into that, another reason I wanted to bring up this image is because when Moses split the sea, he allowed the people to pass through. And that's another way of saying all information passes through the pineal gland. The way your brain works is the way Ma'at weigh the scales. She balances information from left and right like a ping pong game. This is why we play ping pong. All right? You play ping pong with yourself when you make every action starts like this, with the brain playing ping pong. Left and right brain starts to play ping pong with each other. And when you reach a conclusion, boom, it stops in the middle. And when you reach that conclusion, that information travels out of this crack into the physical reality in the form of manifested ideas. So Moses letting the people go pass through, it's the same way the brain allow ethereal ideas to pass through the physical reality in the form of manifestations. Cracking the egg is playing ping pong with yourself. Left and right brain going back and forth. And once the egg is cracked, that means the information reaches a point where you make a conclusion and it's passed through that cracking. That's the yolk. And it exists as the idea turning into a manifestation. Everything starts as idea, chaos, ping pong. And the conclusion is the balancing point. It passes through the great rift, the crack in the brain. That's the highway that allow ethereal ideas to turn into physical manifestations. And it's a process of balancing the scales of my eye, or thinking, critical thinking. And if you don't do that process properly, what you manifest into this reality gonna be a piece of shit or a masterpiece. It's that simple. It's that simple. So the people was able to pass through the chaotic waters. And those waters of chaos, it's the left and right brain trying to make a decision. At that point, chaos is taking place. You can't make your mind up. And when you make your mind up, it's another way of saying you stood your waters up. And now the conclusion can be drawn through the middle. You see at the end of this thing is the light. That's the yoke. That's the yoke. The manifested idea. This is the human brain. Moses represent the brain stalk, because the energy is going up the spine as well. It's all connected. Let me show you. So the staff is the stalk. Give me a minute to show you. Hold on a second. Hold on, people. Give me a minute. I had a phone call. My bad. I'm trying to show you something though. And if you bear with me, I'll do it. Oh, I know what I need to put in. My bad. Trust me, it's going to be worth your weight. Here we go. I found it. Now here's the human brain from this the view that I was looking for. This is a frontal view. So if you look right here at the brain stalk, it's the brain stalk that's forming that crack in the middle. The crack in the middle of your left and right brain is not just some random crack. It's actually what connects your brain. This is where the paradox takes place. What do you mean by paradox, Bro Sanchez? Where the same thing that separates the two halves of your brains also connect them together to the spinal cord. This is a paradox, and it takes place at the North Pole on a cosmic level. All right? So it divides and connects at the same time. You got to start getting familiar with that kind of thinking. Now listen. This stalk represents staff. Stalk is staff. So Moses in between the waters, remember the brain is shit. Hold on. So people, damn, I almost said hello. My phone blowing up. I'm sorry. Let me show you something, because we got to deal with the sacred geometry here. The brain is split by the stalk. My bad. Can you see the connection that I'm showing you here? Moses with the staff is personifying the brain stalk. The stalk is the staff. The energy passes up and down the stalk, people. Remember, Jack's beanstalk became Moses' staff. The stalk is the staff. It's the magician's wand. It's how he's able to manifest his magic. You and me, we're genies in the bottle, manifesting our own reality. And the tool that gets it done is this right here. So the whole thing about Moses splitting the sea with the south, Moses splitting the seas Moses divined the waters with the staff, allowing the people to pass through. It's the human brain divided by the stalk, and the stalk which allows the information to pass through the ethereal plane into the physical plane. The left and right brain ain't nothing but a ping pong game. But once that ain't nothing but the waters. All right? That's what happens in chaos to reach that conclusion. Remember, that's the factory aspect. When the car is being built, it's a lot of banging and clanking going on and sweat dripping. But when the car is finished, that's the completed aspect. That's the beautiful aspect. You can drive around the calm aspect, right? That's what we talk about. After you crack the egg, you just did the chaotic part. The chaotic part is the cracking. The cracking is chaotic. But once you break it and you get to that yolk, well, that's the sweet spot. That's what we're talking about, the manifestation, the child. It's chaotic that the egg got the crack, but it's beautiful when the chicken emerge. That's what we're talking about here. The process of how a human manifests is chaotic. The way the left and right brain go to war is like the devil and God. It's a war going on. And your decision is going to be determined which brain win the war. Whether you make a right brain decision or a left brain decision. And it's going to channel out of the brain stalk, the pineal gland, and this is what connects the ethereal ideas to the physical world. And we see how that goes. Can y'all hear the dogs in the background barking? Yes or no? Put a 1 if you can hear them barking. And if you can hear them barking, then I can, put them up somewhere if they interrupting the stream. But if we good to go and the dogs ain't interrupting us, put a 2. Put a 2 if I'm good to go. Put a 1 if I need to go and move the dogs. Put a 2 if I'm good with the dogs. Put a 1 if I need to go move the dogs. Look like I got more 1s going. Damn, I can't tell if I got more 1s or 2s. Look like the 2s winning. All right, cool. We're going to keep going then. All right, so yeah, we get it that this whole image of the brain and the brain stalk became Christian literature with Moses splitting the sea. All right, now let's get back to and we see how this tie into Amma's egg being cracked now, right? Did I do a good job syncing all that together for y'all? How the egg being cracked represent the same thing as Moses cracking through the water with the staff, and how that represent manifestation with the brain. Y'all get me with that? I'm gonna interact with my chat. We about at hour and a half. Y'all tracking with me? What I need to know is we tracking together on manifestation, the crack in Amma's egg, Moses and the splitting of the waters. Okay, yeah, they said yes. Cool. So I'm gonna quit talking about that then, because there's other stuff we need to go over. All right. So give me a minute to change the screen. You know what? I think I'm gonna keep I think you know what I need to put up for y'all? Hold up a second. And I got it on deck. I knew I was gonna need it. Hold on. Hey, and by the way, thank you for your patience too. When you're doing this live, it just takes a lot more time. I need to find some for y'all though, and this aggravates me, man. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. 1 second. You got so much stuff, man. Ah, man. Got so much stuff, yo. I'm actually going through my folders right now, looking for a collage that I made. Because this collage right here is going to show you perfectly about the splitting in Amma's egg and all of that. And okay, I'm heating up now. I'm in the right folder. I'm in the right folder and I found it. I found it. And it's going to be worth it. Because when I get ready to read this stuff, I want the right images on the screen while I read so it can give you them aha moments. And it's well worth the wait. Boom. Wasn't that picture right there worth the wait? Bam. Because now what we can do, we can look at this, we can look at electromagnetism, and we can make the comparisons. And what I'm going to do for y'all, I'm going to move this over so we can put it all side by side while I read. And this will be up there, and your mind will do the rest. Now, look at the cracked egg art and look at all of this collage I just put up, and you will see it's the same sacred geometry, people, representing the earth. Now, let me read some more so that you can tie in the mythology with the symbolism. Thank you, everybody who's supporting the show with the super chat donations. I'm going to be sure to read those. Now, as we continue to read on with the mythology, right? The Dogon referred to Amma's body as Amma's egg and characterized it as a conical meaning egg-like football type shape. See, when you say conical, if you take the C off, it becomes onical because oni is yoni. It shapes like a womb. All right, and just real quick, shit. Hold on. Hold on. All right, I got it. See, it's so much stuff with this mythology that I gotta keep pulling up slides mid presentation, and it stops my flow. Okay, bear with me, folks. I'm coming. Because the universe is the yoni verse, is basically what I'm trying to show. And I'm looking for another slide. I'm sorry, man. Bear with me once again. All right, we'll just use this for now, man. Um, here we'll do this like this then. All right, let's throw this up here. You see Kanye right there. You see Jesus right there. When I say the universe is the yoniverse, I'm teaching you why they throw up this little diamond symbol. All right. And when you say conical, it's really onical because the oni is the yoni. All right. That's all I wanted to point out. That the split in Amma's egg is the Pac-Man mouth open. There's one above and there's one at the top. So when you take both of those mouths and them two Pac-Man kiss each other, it make a diamond. If you got a Pac-Man with his mouth open pointed downward, and a Pac-Man with his mouth open pointed upward, it'll form a diamond. And that's what the earth is. That's what's at the middle of the earth, a diamond. That's what would be the North Pole. Or a huge DNA strand. But it represents what DNA would be on a cosmic level and what that'll look like, right? Because when you think about DNA, that's what you're looking at. The earth is a huge DNA strand. Look at it. That's what the Kananga is. But what are we saying though? At the middle of the strand is where everything is tied together. I don't know if y'all understand exactly what I'm telling you here. Think of you having a whole bunch of wires or a whole bunch of ink pens in the cup, and you twist them together. You start twisting them together at the middle. They'll be tied together in the middle like a knot, like DNA strand. If you give me a bunch of strings and I tie them all together in the middle and like in a spiral, just like I'm wringing out a rag, like how you wring water out of a rag, and you tie together a bunch of strings like that to make it look like DNA. That middle point where they tied at is represented of a knot. And the word knot is the word neat. The word knot is the word neat. And the symbol for neat is a knot, right? It's a knot is what DNA is. Connect the dots or connect the knots. And the North Pole is a knot. And if you know what a knot is where a bunch of shit tie together at. At the North Pole, all of the elements that create reality tie together down a drain. Everything exits the earth at that point. All the elements go down this vortex and cleanse themselves. So if we went to the North Pole, we would literally see a paradox. We will see where everything that creates reality ties together and meets together and forms a vortex. So going to the North Pole is traveling back to a dense seed that created creation. It's traveling back to the knot that made the loops. And the loops is the cycles of life around the knot. It's a projection going on. So neat is not, and it's DNA, because DNA is holographic, it's projected, it's light, it's plasma. It connects the ethereal with the physical. Okay, so now we can go back here and we can understand that the yoke is the knot. All right, now, we want to tie this into DNA. Oh, we already did that. Let me move on. I don't want to be too redundant. Yeah. See, because DNA ties together everything in existence. And that's what the North Pole does. It literally ties together all the elements at a point of singularity. You see? And basically everything that creates reality ends up at that point to exit the earth, to go down a drain, to be enter a wash cycle. Heavy elements go down a hole when they reach that point, and lighter elements end up getting sucked up into the sky vault. So you got a chimney and a sewer at the middle of the earth, and all the elements go there. And depending on their density determines if they go inside of the drain or up in the chimney ascending. So this became, when you die, you go to heaven or hell based upon how light your spirit is. When you leave the body, everything is attracted to the center of the earth where the vortex is. And you're basically, this lifetime you're living, you're composing the vibration of your spirit when you leave the body. Look at it this way. Think of a music sheet. It got all the notes on it, and the members look at that sheet to play the music from the sheet. Well, this lifetime, you're writing your music sheet. You're actually, your life is you composing notes on a sheet for your soul to sing when you die. Oh, y'all better listen to me right now. Your life is writing out a song for your soul to sing on an ethereal plane when it leaves here, and that vibration, it determines how you resurface again. You see, it's so deep, man, and it's so simple. Since everything breaks down at that point of singularity, whatever you became in your lifetime has to break down. And if you became a heavy-hearted, dense-minded motherfucker, nature gotta break you down by making you exit down the damn drain. Boo-boo can't go out the chimney. So when you live your life, don't die a piece of shit, because nature gonna flush you. And you wanna go out the chimney. Hey, I got to keep y'all laughing as well. But don't die a piece of shit, because nature gonna flush you. She got a sewage for the heavy-hearted motherfuckers. Now, if you like, you get to go out the chimney, right? You get the sand out of this motherfucker. So I guess that's what they call heaven and hell. So let's read some more. Hold on. Okay, let's read some more. All right, uh, so the Dogon referred to this body as Amma's egg and characterized it as a conical, somewhat quadrangular structure, meaning it has 4 angles, and you can see that now. All right. And it also said it has a rounded point and as filled with unrealized potentiality. You hear that? Do you hear that? This reality we living in is filled up with unrealized potential, meaning the possibilities are endless of what we can do in this realm, because this is a crossroads. I just told you that. I just told you that. Listen, people, let me tell you something. If I put you 50,000 feet under the ground, your possibilities is limited what you can do up under the bowels of the earth. Because guess what? You can't fly airplanes under the ground. You see what I'm saying? You can't go to the beach under the ground. You limited to what the hell you can do if I trapped you 50,000 feet under the ground. You're limited to what you can do if I trapped you 50,000 feet up in the sky. What kind of existence would be up there? You'll just be whatever gas occupy that layer of the sky at 50,000 feet, you'll just be surrounded by it. It'll be like being on one of them super Earths that NASA tell you about. Nothing but water. It'll be nothing but helium or whatever is up there at that layer. So where all of these different layers of the earth marry themselves is where we find this life right here, sandwiched in the middle, the meat. So we're in a sandwich. And if you think of a hamburger, the meat is in the middle, because the word meat is dealing with a meeting. Everything meets here. This is this is a crossroads. All of the elements meet up here. And when the elements meet up here, they give birth to humans. Because all of the elements in reality can occupy this one space that we live in, the life here is diverse. See, all of the elements above descend gradually. to this middle point, and all of the elements below ascend gradually to this middle point. And all of the elements below, when they reach this middle point, is like a fish reaching the surface of the ocean. And the same thing coming down from the elements above. This earth ground, all of the elements come in and out of this little pocket. You see, it's a crack, right in a horizontal crack, what allow the steam to exit out the side, water to roll over the edge and come back around the toroidal field. See, if you look at the Hebrew cosmos, where the ocean water in, what you say, what is holding the ocean water in? What's creating this bowl that's holding the ocean water in? The next phase of water? What you mean, Brother Sanchez, the next phase of water? Gas, steam. In my belief, I believe when you reach the edge of the ocean, you reach a huge wall of moving, violent wind and gas. And at that point, it's where all of the ocean water kind of turns into an edge of steam. It's not like, a lot of people say it's ice. I think the ice is just a ring separating different sections of the earth. But when you leave that ice, see, the ice is not the torus field. And flat earth, we got to remember that. The ice wall ain't the edge of the earth. It's a physical barrier. The real barrier is an ethereal barrier where the elements themselves break down. So if you was traveling in the ocean toward the edge of the earth, you'll reach a point where the water run out and start turning into steam. And if your boat was to pass over that event horizon where the water turns to steam, you'll enter a huge violent windstorm where you'll start following this torus field of magnetic energy. And it's starting off as wind because the water breaking down. But the further out you go, you will see what's causing the movement is vibrational magnetic energy permeating from the source itself. And it's not made of the elements, it's controlling the elements. And the further you go away from the center, the more you reach a vibrational barrier that's disturbing the ether, creating this reality. I hope you're grasping this. In other words, the edges of our world is what's creating the world. As you journey to the edge of the earth, you're walking back to the face of the Creator. It's like paint on a canvas, walking off of the doggone canvas board into the room of the painter, talking to the painter. Reality breaks down at that point, because if you are a painting on a canvas and you're living life inside of a canvas, the moment you walk outside of that canvas, your reality breaks down. Something is separating the worlds, right? And it's the canvas that separates the little humans that's walking around inside of the art world from the world that the painter living in. So if your art painted on a canvas, when the art becomes conscious of the source, it looks out of the creation. And humans, we look up at the sky, just like painted creatures would look out of the canvas at the one that painted them. And when that takes place, the paint will start to ascend off of the canvas back into the mind of the painter, because it's conscious that it was painted by something higher than it. Now, the crazy thing about this is that that's what the edge of the earth is. You're walking back into the mind of the source that manifested the reality. Think about it. What would serve as an edge of the earth other than the mind of the creator? Why? Why do the elements break down at the edge of the earth? Because the creator did not make the elements with the damn elements, people. You really got to listen to what I'm saying. Earth, water, wind, and fire. Was it created with earth, water, wind, and fire? The Most High didn't say, let me get some water so I can make some water. So what we call earth, water, wind, and fire and all of the elements have to reach a point, what we call the edge, where they break down to what created them, and that's the pure thought of the source. You can't forget that. That's what science did to you. They took away the creator from the creation and gave you something from nothing. The elements was created with the Big Bang, but they don't tell you where that stuff come from. All of a sudden, water and fire and rock just exploded out of darkness. They're not telling you that the darkness is the fifth element that created the fourth. They don't want you to know how powerful the darkness is. All right, now I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Yeah, so people, that's all. I think we get what I'm saying here now. I forgot what I was saying for I had to open up the door or whatever. I could iterate it on it some more if y'all want to remind me. Right before I left, I was building about something that was pretty deep. And I forgot that quick. Yeah, I was saying how the edge of our reality breaks down and becomes the pure idea that I told you about. I told you everything that exists as a physical manifestation exists as a pure idea on an ethereal plane. So listen to me one more time. Every physical manifestation exists as an ethereal. The edges of our world or the torus field are the many ideas that the creator are bouncing around its brain. Chaos theory, people. Listen to me. You do it too. I told you about that a minute ago. Listen, your thoughts move around all these different mazes of your left and right brain, and it only takes a milliseconds to do it. So when you try to make a decision, what's going on in your brain is a ping pong game, a war between the left and right brain. Information, all your life experience, everything from your previous lifetimes, everything that make you who you are, and everything that you know, your current level of consciousness, all of that information is divided up into subconscious information and conscious information. And when you get ready to make a decision, it's a war between all that information to come to a point where you only need this much of it to make this decision. For example, right? If you going fishing, and I hate to use fishing, but I'm gonna use it. When you get ready to decide what kind of bait to use, what's going on in the brain is all your experience that you know from fishing is being passed back and forth. And as it passed back and forth from the left and right brain, every time it crosses this middle point, you lose some of it. And when it's just enough that you need to make that decision, it fits perfectly down here, and you make a decision and manifest something. All right. So if you can look at this middle point as a neck, and you trying to have an idea, and it's a huge ass ball that can't fit down this little it can't fit down this little canal. What's going on in your brain is you're passing that idea back and forth from the left and right brain, and every time it crosses that net, it's losing some shit that it don't need. Once it get the perfect size, what you need to be to make the perfect decision, is the perfect size to pass through this area and manifest into a physical manifestation. But before it's able to do that, it got to be refined or balanced. The scales filtering that thought process to a condensed little tangible point. You don't need all that experience to make every decision. So when you decision making, what's going on in the brain is the shaving of access information just to make the current decision you making at that time. If a man trying to make a decision on how to approach a woman, he don't need to be thinking about for example, how to build a house at that moment. So what he would need from the experience of him building a house would be how to build the right sentence to gain her attention. So even though he ain't approaching that woman to fucking build a house, he would need just enough of his house building experience to build proper sentences to impress her with his words. And that happens in milliseconds in the brain. The brain processes everything and organizes it so you can make, when the man get to the woman, he ready. He done played ping pong up here. By the time he get there, the thought is refined and it comes out just right. Or if it's not completely balanced and it leaves out of here, it causes chaos. When the thought isn't bounced properly, left and right brain, and it exits out of here and you force it out of here because it wasn't shaped properly to fit and manifest properly like I showed you, then it becomes what's called a clusterfuck, a big snowball effect. See, that's the purpose of critical thinking, so you can make better actions. But when you don't critical think and you don't pass the information back and forth properly, when it exits here, it exits prematurely and you create a hell for yourself. So everything is connected, and just like the earth, we're connected. And what I'm gonna do now is continue to read for you. We can sync this stuff together. Hold on a minute. Right. Okay, so this earth we live in is filled with unrealized potentiality. And that go back to what I was saying earlier. Anything's possible in this realm. That's what they don't want you to know. There's no such thing as impossible here. If you can think it, you can manifest it. That's the crazy thing about it. You cannot think nothing that can't be manifested. Listen to what I'm saying. If you can think it, it can be manifested, folks. Nothing is impossible here. It's about you conceiving it. All right, so the conception of anything represent that thing in its Amma form. All right, now this place is filled with unrealized potentiality. Its corners prefigure the four future partner points of the universe to come. Why? Because it's a holographic light box that's constantly expanding. They tell you we live in an expanding universe, but they give you a bogus interpretation of what that is. This is the expanding universe, the expansion of human consciousness. The more our consciousness expand, you can say, the more the torus field grow, so to speak. It's like blowing up a balloon. The more man consciousness expands, the further the boundaries of his reality are stretched. You see what I'm saying? This is why you got simulation theory. They said, does land exist? Does new land exist if man haven't discovered it yet? They saying once you get in the boat, the idea that the simulation people saying that nature is a simulation that's loading up the boundaries like a video game. The edge of the game don't exist till you walk over there. It's loading it as you go. It's saving space. Computer programmers do that to save space. Like, you wouldn't have the entire map queued up if you're only using a portion of the map. You see what I'm saying? So when you playing like Grand Theft Audio or you playing some video game, the part of hold on, the part of the game that you see is the only part that exists at that moment. Now, when you move to the right, the game gotta load up that part of the screen, but it don't exist till you move over there. And that's very smart. That saves space. That way they don't gotta have a whole damn map loaded up and you ain't even looking at the other parts of it. So they only gonna have the part of the map that you at existing when you occupying that space, and they'll load up the rest as you move over. And that's the simulation theory. That the further out you go toward the boundaries of the earth, the more technology man has to develop. And the more he developed that technology and moved toward those boundaries, the more nature expands her consciousness because it's one symbiotic relationship. So as man create the technology to go further and further outward, the boundaries of the earth are moved outward. It's like a carrot in front of a donkey. It's going to always be a limitation based upon your level of awareness, man. And the more we raise in consciousness, the more we push the boundaries of our reality. So it is an expanding universe. But what's expanding is the torus, the ethereal aspect. And because of that, it's pulling the physical reality with it. Because the ethereal world is represented by the waters above and waters below. And as it expands outward, it makes our bubble bigger and bigger. So it's some truth and some lies to what they actually teach us. This is an explosion that we're living inside, people. In other words, it's an idea in progress, starting from the North Pole, and it is expanding. It is exploding. This is the Big Bang. So, I'll read on. And the reason I said all of that, because what you just read is telling you that the corners of our cosmos prefigure the four future counterpoints of the universe to come. Listen to me, people. If you look at the four corners around this egg, they are moving away from each other. So it tells you here that these corners prefigure the four future counterpoints of the universe to come. Think of mitochondrial DNA and mitosis, and you'll see what we live inside of. See, it's four mitochondrial DNA at the edge of every cell. I'll show you now. This is the sacred tetrad of Allah. Now, you ain't gonna hear many people even referring to it this way that I just said. You got to be on a certain level of understanding When they hear you say the sacred tetrad of Allah, they already know you know what the fuck you talking about. Let me show you something. And that's what mitochondria is. It's a tetrad. Let me show you something. It's 4 of these little things at the edge of the cell. This is the 4 corners of the earth. Let me show you something, right? Let me show you something. Look, this is a cell. It's 4 mitochondria, and they on every edge of. Here's the little green things is mitochondria. It's 4 of them. They missing one in this one. It should be a green little pill right here, a green pill here, a green pill here, and a green pill here. That represent the 4 corners of the earth. These little 4 pills are moving away from each other like an X. And when they do that, they're gonna form 4 individual balls, and it's gonna keep multiplying itself. It's stretching itself outward from the corners. And when it stretches to a climax, it's gonna reduplicate itself into 4 pieces around this one piece that gave birth. But what's causing the stretch to happen is the mitochondrial DNA. Women, you. This is the X chromosome. X represents stretch. Remember, women, you got stretch marks represent new life. When new life is onto the earth, we see stretch marks on the woman. When new life is formed in macrocosm, the mitochondrial DNA is stretching the cell. People, this is powerful stuff. Here go a better picture. You see how your mitochondrial DNA represent the 4 corners of the earth? Your mitochondrial DNA represent these 4 corners, man. And the expanding universe is because these 4 corners are moving away from each other like an X. So I'm going to leave this up here and I'm going to read this again. These 4 corners, these corners prefigure the 4 future cardinal points of the universe to come, the future cardinal points, because these mitochondria are expanding outward. All right? So, according to Dogon myth, some undefined impulse caused this egg to open. You get what's going on here? Some undefined impulse caused Amma's egg to open up. You get what's going on here? That undefined impulse was the subconscious of the Most High. And the opening of the egg was what the Christians call, let there be light. See, if you look at this sperm cells going inside of that female's egg on the right, guess what? Only thing exists inside of that egg is darkness. Y'all don't hear me. I want you to check this shit out, right? This right here is, this egg is full of potential or darkness. The egg is full of potential or darkness. Hold on a second. Let me get the dog. So listen, this is what I want to teach y'all today. When you look at this image on the right? What's inside of this egg is darkness. What is the barrier of the egg made out of? Light. What is the sperm trying to penetrate? A light barrier. The sperm is trying to penetrate a stargate. Once the sperm penetrates this barrier of light that's dividing this darkness, the energy of the sperm changes when it crosses this threshold. And the moment the sperm penetrates this egg and crosses this threshold, it's no longer a sperm. It starts to form into a human. This is what happens when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The energy is transmutated. We are caterpillars that became butterflies or humans. And you're going to become something else when you leave the human form. The earth is now a huge egg that's incubating your human body. And you can look at your human body as a big walking sperm cell inside of a huge egg. And when you die, you're going to transition to another bigger egg. And it's just going to keep going outward into these different phases. But the energy can't stay the same once it crossed that threshold. So what am I telling you here? Inside of this egg is darkness. That's called potential. What's separating this egg is a boundary, something that's definitive. That's called light. So what are we looking at right here? Let me show you. This is what we're looking at. Tesla reduplicated this, so did the Egyptians. If you look at this oscillator, it's a light barrier that's separating the waters from the waters, so to speak. This creates a bubble in the ether. When you look at a bubble in the water, what's forming the edge of the bubble? The edge of that bubble is where what makes the bubble breaks down and it becomes water. If the bubble is air, then the edge of the bubble is where there's no more air and you now get water, right? A bigger bubble, it spans further before it reaches an edge. You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is this, what you're looking at here is like a bubble in the ocean. Once this is generated and this is formed, there's something separating the outside reality from this little pocket of inside reality that's in the middle of this loop. See, let me show you how deep this is. Technically speaking, you can create a miniature earth inside of this eye. I want you to grasp how deep this is. You can create a miniature earth with humans walking around, butterflies, everything we see here on a smaller level inside of this negative space. And this light barrier will act as a torus field for that enclosed environment. So I'm back, people, and like I said, this Nikola Tesla electric oscillator is an example of how the waters can be separated from the waters. And what we looking at with Nikola Tesla's electric oscillator on a biological level, that would be, excuse me. See, this right here is what Nikola Tesla was trying to show us. Life can exist in this eye, folks. If you, for example, can find, if you can find a way to make a light barrier, you created a Stargate. What I'm telling you is this is kind of like what our Earth is. This is the nature of the torus field in motion. Now, the deep thing about this, think about if you fill this half with water. If you fill this, if you had a little world inside of here and you filled this thing up with water halfway, the water would start following the pattern of this light. So the moment you fill this up with water, you will see the water moving. The water will be moving like the ocean because it'll be following this pattern. All of this light is in motion. It's not still. It's moving around in a figure eight, feeding itself through this point where they cross at. This the crossing point, crossroads. You see, this is where the two worlds collide. All right, so what I'm telling you though is inside of here is the potential of life. This can be looked at as inside of the ground. You put a seed in the ground. All right. It's the same thing we see here. If darkness is in here, it's a grounding point for this seed called a sperm. But the sperm can't reach that grounding point unless it crosses a threshold. In the case of a seed, that would be the ground. You got to break the soil like Moses broke the water, like they telling you Amma broke the egg. Like Nikola Tesla broke the ether with his oscillator. You got to break something to make something. So when a baby is born, that fetal bag is broken. The water is broken. There's a lot of things that are broken so that life can be formed. So when a building is being erected, they have a groundbreaking ceremony. Because breaking the ground is the equivalent of splitting the sea or breaking the ether, breaking the egg so that we can see the yolk. Now, the sperm has to break through this threshold to transform its energy and become a human. So the sperm passes through a stargate or a barrier of life to sleep in the darkness and grow from a seed to a human. All right? And when the sperm penetrates that threshold, something magical happens. A spark of light. I told you inside of here is darkness. But when the sperm penetrates this thing, the light from the outer shell begins to bleed into the darkness. And now a hyperboloid is formed. And that's how you get the pole in the middle of the earth. Look at the collage on the left. You can look at our earth as a huge egg, and the North Pole is just a big, huge traffic highway where sperms pass through. You know, when humans start walking on a certain land using that path for so long, the grass go away and we form a road with our feet. Just by walking that same pathway so long, the grass go away and we make a path. The North Pole is an old cosmic highway that soul's been using since the creation of the earth to enter and exit this place. So it's a pathway that we made. And we're made of the elements, so the elements travel that same pathway. It's so much traffic that it breaks through the ether. Just like humans, if you take us to the bushy forest, and we start walking back and forth to the river, whatever path we take from the village to the river, the grass gonna stop growing right there. And we gonna separate the grass from itself. We gonna divide the grass because we decided to walk from the village to the river and create traffic right there. Now we divided the grass and created a pathway where we can get back and forth to the river. That's what happens at the North Pole. Souls are traveling up and down Jacob's ladder. And that path also allows for the river to flow through it and recycle our reality and all the elements. You know, it's a path of least resistance. That's why now when the sperm enter this cell, they'll tell you that a spark of light comes from out of this thing. What we're talking about is basically how light is bleeding into darkness so fast that it belches. You get what I'm saying? If you got water going down the drain real super fast than the drain can handle, then the water starts shooting up from the drain, burping. Like how if you drink water too fast, you'll cough it back up. You'll burp it out. We call it vomiting. And it's very gross. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is when the sperm penetrate the egg, you can see the light burping. Here it is. The moment the sperm make a hole in that egg, what's inside of that egg is the same stuff behind the stars. This ain't the darkness that you get in your house when you cut all the lights off. This is a different kind of darkness. This is the pure absence of physical reality. Inside of a woman's egg is a black hole. It's the absence of everything. Pure potential only exists in there. So it's different kinds of darkness. It's the stuff you got just by cutting the lights off, or the stuff that exists on the other side of the torus field, which is the triple darkness, the ethereal darkness, pure darkness, subconscious darkness. So inside of that egg, that's what exists. And the first time that darkness experiences light is when the sperm pricks its head in. And the light bleeds into that little hole so fast that in the hospital, the doctor can see a little flashing of some of the light being burped up out of the doggone thing. See, if you try to feed your baby some, just say your baby drinking juice out of a sippy cup, and that baby drinking it too fast, it's gonna cough it back up. So when the sperm penetrates that egg, all of that light that's creating the barrier of the egg, separating the darkness outside from the darkness inside of the egg, is a light barrier. The shell of the egg is light, pure light. Inside of that light is pure darkness. This egg is a gateway. It represents the sperm turning from a sperm to a human. So it's a gateway into another realm of existence. And that realm of existence occupies the same space. I mean, as a sperm is still living in a woman that's living on earth. But as a sperm, it's not yet living in the earth. It's living in a body. So in order for the sperm says, listen, I'm tired of living inside of this lady body. I want my own body. And it uses a gateway to make it. It goes in one of these eggs like a caterpillar go into a cocoon and transform what it is, because it's a gateway. And like I said, when the energy crosses that threshold, it transforms. See, when the sperm decides it want to walk around the earth, it can't do it as a sperm cell. So it had to enter a gateway and transform itself to that which occupies this area of the cosmos, being a human. So as we go to different planes of existence, we exist in different forms. Now, this is beautiful stuff because, like I said, when the sperm penetrate the egg, they can see a spark of light come from up out of that thing. Because that thing ain't been nothing but darkness for so long, and it finally got an opening right there, that all of that light try to rush up in that little opening at one time, and it burps, and they can see it in the laboratory, light burping out of that darkness. Isn't it something? And the sperm goes on up in there, and yeah, you can look at that burping like the sperm splashing into the dark waters of that egg, and they can see the splash, which is light. Because this is light. When the sperm breaks in, they can see the light shatter, splash out. Like if you broke into a glass building, the glass will shatter out. Ain't that something? But since it's made out of light, they tell you when the sperm penetrate the egg, you get a spark of light. So women, when the sperm crash into your egg, if you get a spark of light, they telling you that your egg is made out of conscious light, women. The barrier. And what's inside of that light is darkness. This is what your egg is, woman. An oscillator, an incubator, a stargate, a transformative point. So when your egg is broken, a yolk is created. We can see a yolk is called a baby. We see you see, and that's why I keep going on back to this image. See, because this showing you Ogo leaving Siggy Tolo, entering the earth by entering the woman's egg, which is the threshold where this microcosmic energy can transition itself to bigger energy, human bodies. Everybody you see was a sperm cell, and you entered a stargate, and that's how you became this human walking around right now. Now, your doggone grave site is your future stargate. Think about that. You came here through a dark womb, you're going to leave here through a dark womb. That hole in the ground is a stargate, man. You don't hear what's going on, do you? See, check this deep, check how deep this shit is. For you to get to this earth, you had to cross a barrier of light and enter the darkness to transform your energy from a sperm. When you leave this earth, you are going to be the light placed back into the dark hole called a funeral site. See how it's all ritual, as above, so below. The same way you came, you're going to leave. The sperm going into the egg is the dead body going back into the ground and doing it all over again. So this concept of Amma's crack in her egg becomes very profound, because crack is rip, and rip is life. Every life is a ripping of in the ether. You're occupying space now that you didn't occupy. So you're, as long as you living, you are ripping the ether. You're a static vibration that's ripping the, occupying your own frequency. Yeah, so I don't want to really make this too long. I guess I can read the rest of this before we get up out of here, though. So according to Dogon myth, some undefined impulse caused this egg to open, allowing it to release a whirlwind that spun silently and scattered its contents in all directions. See, when the sperm enters that egg, the light starts to bleed into the darkness, and the light forms a line all the way out the other side of the egg, and the egg is now split. And the light splits the darkness in a four-way type pattern like we see in my collage. I'll show you what that looked like when we deal with electromagnetism as well. See, when that sperm enters that egg, it creates one of these, a vortex. Now the egg is no longer one whole thing. It's split. The sperm goes inside of there, and the light from the outside world bleeds into the dark egg, and it starts to split the darkness with light because of the sperm that made cracks in the egg. The cracks in the egg are the many places where the light bled in and through the egg. You get what we're saying now? This, so an egg without a sperm penetrating it would be a torus field without a hyperboloid in the middle. What gets the energy flowing is the moment the sperm, boom, hits that egg, all the energy is going the same direction that the sperm is going. And once it reaches that back barrier, it splashes back outward, and repeat the pattern over and over again. And an infinite vortex is formed. It looked like a barber pole in the middle. See, this hole is where the sperm entered the egg at. The sperm came down, it said boom. And when the sperm hit that egg, it caused this spinning. It cut the lights on, let there be light. And the light started to bleed inside of the dark egg, and there was spiraling happening because of the impact. When the sperm impact that light barrier and that threshold and enters the egg, the force and the momentum, the sperm was traveling this way. The energy keep traveling outward and then reach the edge of the egg, and it ricochets around the thing, and it starts the thing to spinning. The egg ain't moving till the sperm hit it. That egg is not moving, and it ain't got no light on in it until that sperm go and break in the light and cause the motion. Is incomplete. They need each other. They can't exist without each other. Because if the egg don't have the sperm, it exists in a still dark state. The sperm, the one go up in the house and cut the light on and start cutting on the TVs and getting on the treadmill and running around playing Nintendo. And the movement takes place when the sperm get up in there and start moving around, and the energy, and the energy of that movement is being registered upon the waters, the medium that the sperm is traveling in. So the sperm enters this egg going so fast that the light enters so fast that it burps back out. You hear what I'm telling you? The sperm is traveling so fast, when it impacts this egg, it's boom, it's a spark, an explosion of light, because the light that's creating the barrier is trying to enter the darkness so fast it rejects it, like a baby that you're trying to feed the water too fast. But it enters anyway, and all that momentum is bounced back on the back wall, and a number 8 is formed. And the sperm exists in the middle of a number 8 type pattern of energy that it created with its impact energy. So when the sperm get inside of the egg, it ain't just sleeping inside of egg. It's an invisible energy vortex moving around this egg like a number 8. And the energy come from the momentum of the sperm during its initial impact. That's what started the energy. That's what created the vortex. When the sperm impacted, that energy had to go somewhere. And the nature of the egg is so absorptive that the energy just reverberates the egg until the baby is solidified. So what forms the baby is the very vibrational energy that impacted the egg. Take a minute and wrap your mind around that. Take a minute and wrap your mind around that, folks. We say all the time, vibration is the foundation of life. And I'm showing you here that when the sperm entered the egg, its very vibration became your pulse today, your heartbeat. You don't hear what I'm telling you? Your heartbeat, your pulse can be traced back to how much impact you hit your mama's egg with as a sperm. That's deep. That's deep. And everybody got a different pulse because we all was traveling at a different speed as a sperm when we crossed that threshold. So when the sperm made impact with the egg, that energy that it made during impact became your pulse today, your heartbeat that's reverberating from the heart and all around the body, all the way outward to the surface of the skin. Because your skin is what? A light barrier, a holographic layer that allow, in other words, the sunlight going through you. Your shadow is filtered light. This may seem confusing to y'all, but if you look at this electromagnetic energy field at the bottom, all of that light is reaching a point where it's coiled together and it appears to be dark, but darkness is just condensed light. So your shadow is condensed light. It's a result of the sunlight being filtered through you. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. It ain't that your body blocking the sunlight and your shadow is a dark space where you block the sunlight. See, science don't want you to know this holographic reality we live in. Your shadow is a result of your body skewing the sunlight, man. Go look up the word skew, S-K-E-W, and understand how light is filtered through different means. Nothing is closed. Light permeates through all things. Your shadow ain't the absence of light. It's light filtered. It's light condensed through you. Now, what we got to realize is that your skin is this right here grown up. In other words, you're still a sperm inside of an egg. Your skin, it is the barriers of what, listen, the sperm went inside of this egg. And the tip of this sperm, the tip of the head of this sperm started to poke out the other side a little bit as it grew. See, the crazy thing that you got to realize is that the fetal bag ain't the egg. The fetal sac ain't the egg. Your skin is your egg. You still the egg. I don't know if y'all hear what I'm saying. Listen, You still a sperm inside of an egg. The tail of the sperm grew to become your spinal cord. And your head is still this little head that poked through the barrier. Literally. Like your head. If you put your hand on your head, you touching the top of a sperm cell. Like, I don't know, you got to realize the sperm didn't go nowhere. It transformed. So the tail of that sperm cell became your spinal cord. And the head of it is still your head. But your skin and all that is still this damn barrier right here. Like, you still inside of that egg. It's called your skin. The egg and the sperm transformed into a human. They did not disappear. The barriers that was the egg became your skin today. They want you to think that the sperm breaks out of this egg. But I'm starting to see that this is all in a fetal sac. All of this. It's a fractal code, and we need to start studying the woman more. The question is the fetal sac the egg? The thing we break the baby out of, that bag that it's in, is that this right here? How do we know? Or is this the skin around your body? You see, we missing part of the fractal code. I think I'm on to something. All right, everything is everything. This skin became your literal skin around your body, which is the sperm. So if this is your head and this is your spinal cord, when it entered this egg, your mama literally gave you your skin, because her egg represent the wrapping around the gift. The soul is the sperm. And there's a guy by the name of Soulless the Wise who been telling y'all that for so long. He tapping into the same knowledge I'm tapping into, but he going different places with his. So shout out to the brother Soulless the Wise. He waking up to the sperm is the spirit. That's basically all I'm teaching you right now without saying that, because I don't want to seem like I'm taking his terms, but he's right, you know. So the sperm, which is the genie, enters the egg to be wrapped in a bottle. The sperm without the egg is the genie without the bottle. And you got to think about something. The word bottle is the word body. Bottle and body are the same thing. Let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something that's going to blow you away. If you look at a human body and you look at a bottle, they the same thing, man. Look. A body is a bottle, and it's bottling the soul. You're a genie in a bottle. If you look at this bottle and you look at this body, the body is a bottle. The body is a bottle. The body is a bottle. So the sperm is a genie looking for a bottle or a body. And that spark enters this bottle to be embodied or to be packaged. So what happens is that sperm, which is a conscious being, enters this bottle or this body called an egg, and its consciousness now shifts to the egg, which is the body. Y'all don't get it? You're no longer a sperm. You're now a sperm in a body because you went inside of that egg. So now your brain and your spinal cord represent that sperm. And these 2 arms and 2 feet represent the body that it asked for so it can manipulate the elements. Listen to what I'm telling you, folks. That sperm don't got no arms and it don't got no legs. So what the hell you think is going into the egg for? So it can get some arms and legs. Why you think the damn caterpillar going into the cocoon? So it can get some wings and some antennas, some new extensions, so I can manipulate this reality in another way. That sperm know what it's going to get in that egg. It's saying, man, shit, I want me some arms. I want me some legs. I'm going inside of that bottle so I can get me a body. The bottle is the body. When the sperm crosses that threshold, it know that the egg is going to turn it into, it's going to grow it some arms and some legs around that tail and that head. So if you look at the human, you got 2 arms and 2 legs around a head and a spinal cord. Because before you had them 2 arms and 2 legs, you was just a spinal cord and a head swimming around your daddy nutsack. In other words, the daddy has the spinal cord and the head, which is the conscious spark of what we are. And the mama got the members. She's the mother earth, the connection point to allow you to get the members to manipulate reality. You got to go through her to get your damn arms and legs to become Allah. You got to enter the goddess portal to become the God or Allah. Remember, Allah is what? Arms, legs, arms, head. Showing you how you're formed. You start off as just the spinal cord and the head. That's the sperm cell. But you traveling to go and get your members, your arms, your legs, your Allah. You get that from the woman. That's what that box represents. You enter that to transform your energy. That's a cocoon. So when the sperm enters that egg, the tail becomes the spinal cord, the head grows ears and eyes, and the whole outside of that egg become your arms and legs. That's the 360 of life. Each one is 90 degrees. Each of your arms been 90 degrees. Each of your legs been 90 degrees because that was the 360 around the sperm cell. That shell around that sperm became your members. That's bending 90 degrees. The science never changed. It just transformed to something else called a human. So I think this is a good place to stop at for today. Let me see. Oh, no. We got some more. Let me read the rest of this. I'm sorry, people. Stay with me. Let me read the rest. We still got some more. My bad. All right. So it goes on into this mythology, and it says that the Dogon, see, because what happened was an undefined impulse caused the egg to open. And that first crack created a bunch of more different cracks. That first impulse created a release. It allowed it to release a whirlwind that spun silently and scattered the contents in all directions. That's why I keep showing you this. See, that first impulse is this right here, this hyperbola, this middle pole. This was the first crack in the egg, this middle pole. But from this middle crack became all these other little horizontal cracks. Look at it. Look at here. You got one big old crack in the middle. But from this one big crack in the middle, look at all these other little ripples and cracks around it, man. All of these other little cracks in it only exist because this one in the middle. This one crack in the egg created all the other magnetic ley lines and cracks that made the bird nest around the egg, all right? So let's read some more because we got to read the rest of this. And so that crack scattered all of the contents of the egg in all the directions of the earth. And you see now why in Dogon cosmology, they tell you that the womb of all worlds has the great mother surrounding the four corners of the earth in the form of the elements. For years, people weren't making the connection on what that meant. Each of the corners of the earth occupy an elemental idea of creation. Those elemental ideas manifest in physicality as the elements, and they foundate the very structure we call the cosmic egg. What am I telling you? Reality is founded upon an idea. What else could it be founded upon? Again, the Most High didn't use water to make water. It existed as an idea. And when the Most High had the idea, it simply popped into, this is where people gonna start calling me crazy. Because I'm not God, but I'm telling you that when the Most High have a thought, it don't have to be formed. It simply is at the moment of conception, as like it always was. Did you hear what I said? When the Most High have a new thought, which is kind of stupid because the Most High don't have no new thoughts, it's regenerating thought itself. There's no such thing as new and old thought, like there's no such thing as new and old water. All that exists is water, and water recycles itself and renews itself, but that's not new water. It's the same water cleansed. It's not a new shirt because I put it in the wash machine. Infinity doesn't create new shit. If infinity got to create something new, it ain't infinity. It's infinity because it renews what is. Grasp the concepts I'm giving you. So check this out. At the conception of creation, all of the contents that creates creation was scattered in all directions. Why? Because the Most High didn't create creation with creation. Is something that you're going to have to really grasp and think upon to see, you know what I'm saying, how deep it is. When the Most High said, okay, I got this idea of waterfalls, apple trees, humans, and all of that. The Most High didn't develop no kind of process by which it was going to create the apple tree. You know, it didn't have to tie the roots together with the trunk and glue together the doggone apple skin with the seeds. We create like that. The Most High don't. The Most High don't have to put nothing together or have a process by which it comes into being. That's not how creation happens in macrocosm. It's simply conceived and it is. And you got to realize that the Most High don't deal with phases. When we talk about infinity, when we talk about that which governs everything there is, it exists outside of perceived time. Therefore, when the Most High is creating, is not bound to time. Man have to create in phases. He have to lay the foundation first, then take a couple of days to build a body, then a couple of days to build a roof, because we exist within time. The Most High don't build in phases. It's simply conceived and it is. And when it is, it's as if it always was. And that's kind of hard for you to grasp, and it should be, because you don't exist as the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Can't get everything, man. But you can marvel at it. You can think about it and you can be like, damn, that's deep. And that's what really the Most High wants you to do. Acknowledge His greatness. Put some respect on my name. You know what I'm saying? Be happy that you can't figure it out. You know, that's the beauty of it. That's the edge of the earth. Like where your information breaks down. Okay, this is the end of your world and your understanding as well. So when you get to the edge of the earth, no one can explain it because it's beyond your understanding. You know why? Because you're standing under it. You get it? The edge of the earth is the edge because it's beyond your understanding. You standing under it. It's a boundary made upon your level of awareness too. So the dome is the dome, and when they say the sky is the limit, they right. You pushing the boundaries of your own limitations within your own mind. You're self-creator of your own reality. So this makes perfect sense what the Dogon spoke about. When this egg opened, it released a whirlwind that spun all of the contents within the egg in all directions. So the egg had contents in it. Think about what I'm telling you. This egg had all the contents and potential to develop life, but why wasn't life developed yet? Because it was nothing to mix it up. See, look at it this way. If you got a counter with pineapples, apples, kiwis, bananas, I mean, you got the potential to have a smoothie. You could take all that fruit and you can potentially make a smoothie. It has the potential. I mean, you got the pineapples right there. You got the kiwis right there. The only thing keeping you from turning it into a smoothie is what? A blender. A blender. So when you read this Dogon mythology and it talk about a whirlwind that started to blend up the contents inside of the egg, that was when life started to form. But the potential of life was always there. It just needed something to spin it. It needed a spark. It needed some movement. And that's what the sperm represent. That's what let there be light represent, because the light that Bible speak of existed before the sun was created. When you read Genesis and it say let there be light, it goes on to create the sun. So what light was they talking about? They was talking about the conception of the cosmos, the Amma state, the unformed version of the universe. The moment when the creator had an aha moment. But that aha moment solidified into a physical creation. See, here's the difference between you and the creator. You can have an aha moment to build something, then you got to go outside and it take you time to build it. That's how you manifest, but that ain't what the creator do. When the creator have an aha moment, whatever idea that the creator conceived in that aha moment exists as if it always has been. In other words, the moment the creator conceives anything, that which it conceived automatically begin to exist in an infinite state. This is what you got to wrap your mind around when you talk about macrocosmic science. This is how shit is created beyond the boundaries of time. And man try to interpret that aspect of creation with the limitations of time, and it don't make no damn sense. So he got to create some bullshit called light years. And light years is his way to measure the damn darkness that can't be measured. So light years is all of these weird numbers. A trillion light years away. A billion light years. It's just infinity. Ain't no damn light years. The light is expanding outward in the darkness. And as it travels away from the source, we rise in consciousness and our boundaries are expanded. Because the light creates the box. Where the light ends is where the edge of our egg begins. So there are no light years. It's an explosion of light from the center. That light represents conscious reality, being born from what? The unformed state, which is the idea. So behind the scenes, it's the creator having an idea. That's what the edge of the earth is. It's the creator in a thinking state. It ain't like, when you reach the inner workings or the edge of a building, you can see like the boiler room, the sewage room. You can see the place where they keep all the foundations for the building, the inner workings. When you go and look at the inner workings and skeletal frame of the earth, it exists as a pure thought of source because the creator don't create in phases like us. It exists in a thought state and a manifested state. And the thought state is the creator. Because listen, where is the thought? In the mind of the source. So water exists on an ethereal level as a pure idea. And if you get rid of that idea in the mind of the creator, what we call water will be deleted from the simulation. You see what I'm saying? If you playing the Mario video game and you riding on top of Yoshi, Yoshi is a code. Yoshi may be a series of numbers to get the green and a different kind of numbers to get the eyes. And if you delete that binary code and cut the Mario game on, you'll see Mario riding on nothing. It'll be shaped like he on top of Yoshi, but you won't see Yoshi. You can press the buttons and make Yoshi eat the little apples and do all that, but Yoshi will be invisible. It'll be like, damn, Mario on top of something, but we can't see what it is. Because you deleted the idea of what was creating Yoshi, which is the code behind the programming. So behind the matrix is the programmer. The programming is what's creating the barriers of the matrix. You see, the creator didn't create this realm with elements. The doggone creation is made of elements. So again, the Most High didn't say, let me make some water out of this water. The Most High had an idea called water, and the idea simply started to exist as water on all levels of manifestation, leading back to the idea, which is the source. So the moment the source conceived the idea of water, it existed as gas. And as it moved away from the mind of the ponderer, it became liquid water and eventually ice. The further away it got from the source, it became hard old ice. And the further away it moved from the source as ice, it went back to gas. See, it starts from the center and end at the edge. Just like these demonstrations in front of you show. What creates the edge of this shell is what splits it in the middle. So going to the middle of the earth is traveling back to the pure thought, the seed of creation. So when you go to the North Pole, you will see the Most High meditating. What do you mean, Brother Sanchez? You gonna see some dude sitting Indian style on the ground? Hell no. You're gonna see the Most High meditating, and the meditation of the Most High is what's creating the ground we walk on, the air you breathing. Now, whatever the Most High look like having this thought, that's what you will see when you go to the North Pole. You will see all of this world that we living in is being created by one divine source at the center of it. So the ground will reach an edge and it'll all culminate to an idea, a simple idea. You got to think about it. All of the elements will culminate into something that's beyond the elements because something had to create them, right? So all of the elements in existence wouldn't culminate to the elements. Come on, people. Think of it this way. Look at a pineapple. All of the fruit in the pineapple is stuck to the middle stalk. But the stalk is not the fruit. That's why you can't eat the stalk. Think of an apple. What's in the middle of the apple? The seed, the thing that created the apple. You can't eat that. So when you get to the North Pole, you can't live at 0 degrees because that's where everything that's creating life breaks down to the seed of what it is. The ground you walking on can be traced back to a point of origin, just like the roots of a tree can be traced back to the trunk. The ground we walking on is one big magic carpet, and in the middle of that carpet is the seed that grew the carpet outward from the center. So traveling back to the North Pole, the ground ends. You reach the edge of the earth. There's no more ground to walk on because you reach the one that pondered the idea of the ground. You're walking back to the very source that even had the idea of a ground and some sky and some grass. And when the source had that idea, it didn't have no water to make water with. So it only existed as an idea. What am I telling you? Life is only the idea of the Most High. And when you go back to the North Pole, you go back to the thinker that created this thought. Because that's all life is, a thought bubble. They telling you something on the computer, man. If you look at the symbol that they give you for a thought on a computer, it's a bubble. Whenever somebody get a thought, it's a bubble come out of their head. The creator had a thought and a bubble formed out of the creator's head. And that bubble, we live in it now. We live in the mind of the creator. And the edges of our reality is where the creator stops the thought process. You feel me? You can't go beyond the damn thought. If the creator ain't thinking anything beyond those boundaries, how can you go beyond that which is thought from the source? You get it? Now you see why Yakub's head is so big. We actually living in the mind of the source, people. And the sun and moon is the left and right brain of the source. The North Pole is the brainstalk, and we are the information going up and down that brainstalk in the form of spirits that are reincarnated through the North Pole. As we travel, we take these experiences with us, and we're taking information. We are like external hard drives that the Most High use to transport different information. The Most High plugged a little drive into this realm. Then when you die, he plug you into another drive and load up your experience in that modem. That's all it is. Each one of you is just a little miniature external drive plugged into the motherboard at the center. But it's all a simulated reality because it exists only in the mind of the source. So if reality is nothing but a thought, going to the North Pole is walking toward the thinker, the one that's actually holding this conscious thought into existence. you wouldn't want to disturb it with you, because if you mess it up, we can stop existing. I'm just bullshit. The most, it's a little bit deeper than that, but you understand what I'm saying, right? It's a higher intelligence beyond our understanding that you will meet when you get to the North Pole, and that's why they don't want humans going there. But I really do believe we were created to take that pilgrimage there and see the Creator face to face. Just like Truman did on the Truman Show. Jim Carrey showed you. Jim Carrey said, you know what? I got to be brave and take that trip and see what's there. And when he did it, he realized there was nothing stopping us. The boundaries was in our mind. Flat earthers say, why we can't go to the North Pole? Well, they got a military guard there. How you know? Did you go? Whether we go to the North Pole and won't nothing stop us. And when we get there, we enter Agartha. And the only thing that's keeping the rest of the world from experiencing heaven is them believing the lies. All they got to do is go. Who knows? All I know is when you start studying ancient sciences, it was their duty in their lifetime to journey to the center. Now today they teach you that this journey was a mythological journey. Folks, I'm telling you that is a lie. Our ancestors journeyed to the center of the earth as a spiritual tradition in a lifetime. And we don't do it anymore. And I think that's the reason why we die. Death ain't nothing but nature forcing you to go to the center of the earth. In a lot of ancient mythologies, they said when you go to the center of the earth, you can escape death. You live forever. So think about that. We die because we stop traveling to the center. If renewal take place at the center, if all of the elements renew themselves at the center of the earth, it makes sense that a human can renew its lifetime there too. Because what is a lifetime? Time, the turning of the ether. And you rewind the hands of time when you travel to the North Pole. So I truly believe that it's anti-aging, that yes, that was a possibility, but maybe it was so much overpopulating that they needed people to stop taking the trip and die. Now there's a movie you can look at on Netflix called Logan's Run. And if you look at Logan's Run, they made a movie out of what I'm telling you now. These people was living in an enclosed world, just like the pictures in front of you. They lived in a dome world. And they renewed their life by going to the center of the dome. And every 30 years, you had to go renew your life. Otherwise, you'll die forever. Go watch Logan's Run. I don't want to tell you the movie because it's spoilers. If I start talking about it, I'll spoil it. But if you watch Logan's Run, they'll tell you this whole story about how the ancestors went to the center of the earth to renew their life, like how we renew driver license cards and shit. So a lot of mythologies say that when we stopped journeying to the tree of life, humans started aging and dying by choice. And if you read the Bible, they told you that Adam and Eve didn't age at first. It wasn't until they was kicked out of the garden that Adam and Eve started to die and age. But Adam and Eve didn't age at first. When they was by the tree of life. When Adam and Eve existed in the Garden of Eden and they was right there with the tree of life, they weren't aging. But when they was kicked out of the garden, they started growing old and death came onto the world. So the Christians telling you the same thing that the ancestors were saying, that the North Pole was a reset button and humans went there to renew their lives, stop aging. It's a 0 point, folks. It's a place where time don't exist and you can travel to it. If time creates aging, traveling to the North Pole reverses the aging process. reverses time. This is what the ancestors were saying. To travel to the North Pole is to travel back in time toward the seed of the cosmos, what created it all. And when you do that, it's like a baptism. It's a renewal process. You don't come back the same. You come back renewed because you went to a renewal point on the earth. So we got to start really re-questioning and rethinking the nature of our reality. And at this time, I think this will be a good time to stop today's show because we at 3 hours, make it digestible, and we'll pick up in the future on something else. Yeah, we'll continue this. We'll continue this. Real quick, before we end this, I need to add this onto the lecture too. When it talk about the whirlwind that started to scatter the contents of creation in all directions, it says that the scattering of these contents created the stars that we see in the sky. So all of the stars going around the center of the earth is connected to that pole in the middle of that hyperboloid that's spinning on the right. What am I telling you? When you go outside and look up at the stars going around the earth, the star that you're looking up at is not just suspended in the sky. It's swinging on a cord that you can't see. All of the stars in the sky are connected to the North Pole. You can't see the connection from where we are on Earth because the cords are made out of light, different forms of light, and it's invisible from our angle. Just like certain like a rainbow ain't visible to everybody. If you're looking at a rainbow from a certain angle, it's invisible to you. So if you can go outside of the earth, you'll see that the stars ain't just suspended in the sky. You will see each little light has a cord coming from it, connecting it to the pole at the center of the earth. And as that pole spin is spinning around these stars in the sky. Each one is connected to the pole by a cord that you can't see. So if you look at this image on the right that I got spinning, you can see how each of the lines that's making the cage of that shell is connected in the middle. And as the middle part spin, it makes the lines, the outer barrier of the shell spin. All of the stars in the sky represent the different barriers. Think of a blanket. When a woman weave together a blanket, there's gonna be little dots like buttons. If you think of a couch, the couch got buttons where they got to glue together the fabric at these certain pressure points to keep the couch held together. If you take away all them buttons, the couch will fall apart. The North Pole is a button that buttons together all of the aspects of this reality. Now listen what I'm telling you. At the North Pole, it's a pole that's turning, but all of the stars and luminaries in the sky is connected to that pole. If you can look at the connection, it'll be the lines that pineapple flesh follow to the stalk. Look at here. I know I said I was done. I lied. I got a little bit more to teach. So stick with me. Look at here. Let me show you something. Look at this pineapple. Let's think of this stalk as the North Pole. And all of this spiky flesh on the outside are the stars in the sky. You see these little spikes? You see the spikes on the outside of that pineapple? That's the stars in the sky. Little pricks of light. Remember when I told you earlier that the sperm do the same thing? When the sperm crosses that threshold of that egg, it creates a spark of light from that egg. I showed you that earlier with the sperm. All of these little spikes is where the energy from the outside, the energy being pushed from the stalk outward. All of this fruit right here is the same thing that's forming the outer skin, but it's transforming as it crosses thresholds. What am I telling you? The stalk is the fruit, and the fruit is the skin. It's different versions of the same thing, like ice, gas, and water. The human, the soul, the different aspects of you. The skin of this fruit is like your aura wrapped around your body. Now check this out. As the energy go from the center to the edge, it transforms into fruit, into skin. That's simple. This is a torus field. This is the same thing as all the images on the left. So what are stars? Stars are energy exiting and entering the torus field. Okay? The energy starts at the stalk, and as it explodes from the stalk, it crosses a threshold where it transforms into something different, and you can see the momentum that it was traveling outward in a form of spikes, because that energy got to go somewhere. If you're up under the ground and you punch up at the surface, you're going to make a little mound on the surface. So the energy starts here, and as it grows outward, it transforms. It starts off as stalk, and as it grows from the stalk, it transforms into fruit. And as it grows from fruit, it transforms into skin. But the energy that it started off with when it started from the stalk and shooting outward can be seen in the form of spikes. The energy had to go somewhere. It's an explosion. It blew up. So as it exploded, these spikes show us the energy from the explosion that happened at the stalk. So when you living inside of the earth looking out at the stars, you're looking out at the many explosions or rips inside of the dark torus field, the magnetic torus field. It's been separated by light or electrical currents. And it builds a cage around it. So the stars are in motion because each one of those stars can trace back to the stalk. If you look at this fruit, it's a line. It's not disorganized. It's organized. It's a line. And it starts from the one dot, and then you got all of these lines going outward. See, these are a bunch of lines, y'all. If you zoom in on this, it's a system of lines. What forms the fleshy fruit is strings, little threads, man, and they all bond together, and we eat it as a pineapple. But you can peel it apart, and you can eat each little string. This stalk gave birth to a bunch of little threads, little strings. And as they grew outward, they compressed together to make fleshy fruit. But if you take, and I eat pineapples every day, go open up a pineapple and cut you a chunk out. You will see that it's not really a chunk. The pineapple is a bunch of strings. It's really strings, compressed strings. And each of these little thin strings were born from the stalk, and they were compressed inside of the stalk, and the skin compresses these strings into a thick fruit. Okay? This can be seen as the human heart, which is causing a compression action, right? Outward, pumping the blood all around the body. See? So this is what stars are. They're the spikes of energy. As the energy exits from the North Pole and it exits out of the torus field, we can see it in the form of stars or spikes. But each of them stars is connected to a line. Each of these spikes is connected to a line that can go right back to the star. And that's what this image represents. Each of these little lines can be traced back to its connection at the stalk in the middle. So when we look outside up at the stars, each of them stars are connected at the middle of the earth. Every individual star you see in the sky is really a thread of light that is woven together at the middle of the earth. Take a minute and think about that. Sleep on that tonight. And I'll see y'all next time as we continue more Cosmology 101 and Monday Mystery Schools on Bro Sanchez Live. And I just want to take a minute and thank all of my channel supporters and people that sponsor this information, because we need it. We need your support to keep the research going and to be able to be on this thing for hours and hours doing this. All right. So I appreciate the people who, supported the show. Much love to my brother Mind's Eye, my brother Omar Little. 4 virtues, 4 truths. Appreciate you, my brother. Patience is a virtue. Shout out to Scott Henderson. Says, I love your teachings. I learned so much from you. Appreciate all you do for us. No problem. You're welcome. And I appreciate your support, Scott. Much love to you, TV. Appreciate the donation, Illustrious Cook. My brother Willie Lil John, you always supporting. And my brother C. Dot. I appreciate all of y'all for the donations. It really helps us continue to do what we do. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Y'all can chop this up, do what you want to do with it, share it. We didn't have a lot of people tuned in today because it is Friday. People got stuff going. But I'm gonna stop it right there. And yeah, I thought this was a powerful presentation. So maybe we can make it go viral somehow. That'll be dope, man. But then again, this knowledge ain't popular, so it's only gonna be restricted to a small few of open-minded people who really perceiving reality through that third eye vortex. I appreciate every last one of y'all, man. Appreciate all my moderators, Sir Drop, GPS, I see you. Miss IL, the Y, I see you. I see you. Hey, shout out to everybody in that chat room, man, in attendance today. We all participated in this excellent revelation of a stream at the same time today. All right. So share it with everybody and let's continue to spread this information. Peace and much love, everybody. See y'all next time. I'm thinking about going live on Flat Power tonight. So, be on the lookout. Much love. Peace out.